Hi everyone, my name is ZeeZee, and in this video I'll be answering a question I received from a very worried lady who said she's had it up to here with her sister-in-law. Che, in-law drama is real, folks. I tell you, just the other day I did a video on meddling mothers-in-law, and now I have to do one on meddling sisters-in-law. So if you want to know the best way to manage them, stay tuned. Welcome back to ZeeZee Talks In-Laws. So, like we have agreed, in-law drama is real. There's no running away from it. We have in-laws because we've married someone who's from a different family. So what we will have to do is realize that we can't run away from from having in-laws. So what the best thing to do then would be to learn how to live with our in-laws and to live in peace. The best thing to do would be to have a decent relationship with them. So let's go to our question of the day and see what Lucy is asking. Lucy seems to have a big issue with her sister-in-law, and she's written in, "Hi ZeeZee, my sister-in-law is recently divorced and she stays with us. She is jealous of me and never misses an opportunity to make trouble between me and my husband. I have spoken to my husband about this, but he feels obligated to her. I feel she is manipulating him. So what should I do, ZeeZee? Please help." Thanks for your question, Lucy. And I think I've mentioned it in one of my videos before. There are two women in your husband's life that would be so difficult for him to really be harsh with or tell off, and that's his mother or his sister. And that's just the dynamic of the brother and mother and sister relationship. Now, your husband is obviously indebted to his sister because he's known his sister forever and feels like he'll be abandoning her if, especially at a time like this, she can't come over to stay. Now, the thing is, you are probably viewed as an outsider, unfortunately, because she's known him the longest. She's been there with him, knows all his secrets, knows the girls that he had before you, knows all these things. And so she finds that she's trying to protect her brother from you. The issue is with this whole in-law dynamic is people have to stop seeing themselves as the enemy. And while you're in your place to require more involvement of your husband and less of your sister-in-law, that's perfectly understandable and that's fine. It's your right. You actually cannot go to your sister-in-law and demand respect or demand her to stop manipulating your husband. Unfortunately, honey, that has to come from your husband himself. He has to be the one to take over the reins and say to his sister, "Hey, I think you're meddling or you're manipulating a bit too much here. You're welcome in our home as long as you live by X, Y, and Z rules." I've talked about this before and I don't want to sound like a broken record, but when you leave your family and you're getting married to someone else, what you do is you actually leave them and you cleave to your spouse. The only thing that will cause you to have problems with your spouse and the way he's handling his in-laws and him not understanding you would be if you guys are having other marital issues. I want to ask why he would say he's obligated to her. His obligation should actually lie with you, his wife, because it is biblical. That's what is required for a healthy relationship. But that means that the both of you band together, form a strong bond, and then can love all his family or all your family together as a unit. You're no longer separate individuals. The issue is he's probably seeing you as separate from himself so he can handle his sister the best way he knows how to. And he obviously feels obligated to her because she's probably now divorced and sad and he just wants to be there, which is fine. The issue here is your husband needs to speak with her. He needs to set the boundaries. She needs to understand what she can and what she can't do in your relationship. It's no longer free for all because now he's with you. So the first thing I suggest that you do is, of course, love your sister-in-law, be the best that you can for her, but more importantly, focus on fixing your relationship with your husband. Obviously, and I don't know because I haven't had any conversations with you, he feels he's obligated to her. And if he said those exact words to you, he needs to talk to me ASAP. So make sure he's watching this. And if he is, this is really a short video. I can't handle all your problems right now, but the both of you are more than free to get in contact with me so that way we can handle the real issues. I sense here that there are marital problems, and as long as those things exist, you and your husband will never be on the same page handling friends, brother, sister, mother, father, whoever. So it's not just about your sister-in-law. Your husband is the one who sets the boundaries where even people living with you cannot take over his home. He has that power, but he's not doing it because something is missing in your relationship. So it seems like your sister-in-law went through some very devastating times recently, and I suggest that you guys try your best to be there for her as best as you can. You didn't mention though if her living with you is a temporary arrangement or if it's not, or if your husband's just saying she can stay for as long as she wants. While I understand why she has to be with him, probably that's her only source of help, I usually do not advise that family lives with a couple, especially a couple who might not have been married for a long time. And the reason is family will always be indebted to their own side. So your sister-in-law in the house would pitch you against your husband naturally, because even when you guys have fights, or even when you guys are doing things that she probably doesn't approve, she's going to make it seem like you're doing something that is derailing her brother and come at you by planting seeds of doubt and things like that in his head. You don't need that. If she's 2 doors down the hall from the both of you, she probably hears all your secrets, hears all your times together, and she probably again is too involved because she's right there. My suggestion is have a conversation with your husband to understand what the term of her staying with you is. Again, do as best you can just to make sure she's fine, but then we need to understand the plan, because her living here might not be best for us long term. Again, this is a discussion that you and your husband have to have. And again, if your relationship is where it needs to be, you would probably be able to have this conversation honestly and without anybody flying off the handle. Now, you mentioned feelings of jealousy. What I seem to think is that your sister-in-law is more, you might see it as jealousy, but it's just more she's protecting her brother. Yes, I'm sure you'll see it like a how crude. How can you protect someone but you're hurting someone they love? That's her way of showing it. And unfortunately, you can't judge people the way they process, because we all process in different ways. What she's trying to do is keep the relationship she has with her brother safe and sound, and knock out anyone she feels is a threat to that relationship, which might come across as jealousy to you. But again, all these things she's doing can be stopped if the both of you, you and your husband, decide how you want to handle the situation, agree on it, and then implement your plans and your strategy. I doubt that your sister-in-law is a witch. If she was, your husband wouldn't protect her as much. It's difficult, of course, because some people can be difficult. I'm not avoiding that fact. But the truth is, with love, anybody with any agenda can be worked around. I do suggest that she doesn't live with you forever, because if she does, that would definitely fuel even more conflict, because you can only worry about yourself and your husband. You can't really figure out what your sister-in-law would be up to. I suggest that you guys have those difficult conversations, but more importantly, reach out to me, because it seems like you need even more help in other areas of your relationship. Now you can learn how to communicate with your husband clearly, handle the conflict that might arise from all of this. Just go to my website, ZeeZeeIO.com. I have a free audio that you can download that will help you through conflict resolution and communication with your spouse, and help you guys learn how to listen through issues with each other and understand each other clearly. Because without the right communication, you guys are not going to have a decent enough relationship to fight anything that's bothering you. So the truth is, that feeling of manipulation that you're sensing is your sister-in-law's warped way of remaining relevant in her brother's life. Don't forget, her husband's just left her. She probably has no other brother. And even if she does, she's obviously close to this one if she's in his house. So she needs to be relevant to some male figure, because she just lost the one that she had. Again, with all these thoughts, unfortunately, There's nothing you can do to change the way she understands things or processes things. The only thing that you have to do is to just keep loving her through this, but more importantly, making sure that your husband is having the necessary discussions with her to figure out how she can actually stop manipulating situations in your home. If she's done something to you, I suggest not going directly at her. Go to your husband and let him know, and the both of you agree how he wants you to address your sister. He might actually tell you, yeah, tell her if she's doing something you don't like. He might say that, and if he does, then go ahead. But you don't want to take matters into your hand and go at your sister-in-law and try to separate her from her brother, because again, because this is a very vulnerable relationship for him, he might not be on your side. He might just think you're being unreasonable and you're just being very difficult to deal with. So it's a very sensitive issue to thread with. So I suggest that whilst you're talking to your husband about this, ask him to help you understand the best way to handle his sister, because he knows his sister better than you do. So in conclusion, what I'm saying is the level of manipulation that anyone, whether your sister-in-law, mother-in-law, or any friend or boy out there of your husband, the level of manipulation they have over him is directly proportional to how much love you have for each other and how strong your relationship is. If their manipulation is stronger than your love, it would totally overshadow him. But if your love is stronger, you overshadow any manipulation from the outside world. Any external forces are taken care of, shut down, and they have no way to break into your bond. So do you see why I say the most important thing is to rebuild your relationship with your husband? The most important thing now for you to do is to find a way to make sure that the both of you are back to where you need to be to become that unified bond. Because even in the Bible, it says that two can never move together unless they agree. So if you're going left and your husband's going right, guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep clashing. People are going to have access to the middle of the both of you, and getting rid of those people is not even going to fix anything, because your husband will just find someone else in his life that will come in between the both of you again. But once the both of you close up that gap, there's no one who can fight through that. The both of you become a very strong bond and always fight any external forces in its way. So newsflash, Lucy, if you and your husband are not friends and you don't have a tight friendship, anyone can come between the both of you. So that's what you need to focus on working on. I have a lot of material that can help you and your husband on your quest to fix your relationship. Just go to ZeeZeeIO.com and you'll find tons of them. I have videos, more videos on YouTube, and of course you can email me again like you've emailed me, but I really want to talk to the both of you. Let me know how things are going. Let me know how this has helped. This is supposed to be some sort of plan to form a strategy to handle any external force, not just your sister-in-law. If you implement this, if you implement building your relationship, you're going to find that there are other areas that the both of you are allowing external forces to take over, and you will eventually fix your marriage for the best as long as you have the right information. So for everybody else out there who has something to say to Lucy, why don't you leave a comment below? Do you have you experienced any of these things? I know a lot of people say, oh ZeeZee, all this is for Oyinbo. No, it's not. The problem here with us is we keep saying it's not for us, and that's why we keep suffering. Why don't you try something different? Try to do something different and see if it doesn't actually change your situation. That's the story of my life. I used to say, it's not going to work, I'm not going to bother. And then the second I said, you know what, just try, there are so many changes in my life. And this goes across my life, not just my relationship. And my relationship has grown in 11 years in ways I never imagined that it will. So my point is, work on your friendship. As long as you do that, everything will be fine. How do you work on your friendship? I have more tips. Just hang on to me, like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel, tell people about me, and grow in the way that you need to make sure your relationship stays the way it needs to and thrives the way it needs to and grows the way it needs to. Okay? Don't suffer in silence. Don't just sit there and say, it'll figure out itself. It won't. It never does. You're the one in the relationship. You're the one who has to do the work, unfortunately. Or fortunately, depending on how you choose to look at it. I'm ZeeZee, and I'm always here to help you keep your relationship together. Do not forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Do not forget to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ZeeZee Ihe. I hope you have a glorious day. Take care.